Are you the kind of collector who's always looking for chases but never finding any? Well, don't worry, you're not alone. Today, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you find more chases. So stick around to hear all 5, and I promise you, you'll start to have so much more fun hunting Funko Pops. So let's get into it. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Benjamin and this is Retro Marmot Pops. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe down below. We have weekly Funko content and we'd love to have you aboard. Now on to the topic of today's video, which is chases. We all know how hard they are to find. And if you're even slightly a serious collector, then I know you are dreaming about the next time you find a chase. I mean, I am. And I want to clarify, when I say the wild, I mean retail stores like Target, GameStop, Hot Topic, and other retail settings that sell Funko Pops. These tips won't necessarily apply to places like comic shops, collectible shops, or places that sell Funko Pops secondhand, because, I mean, it's common to find chases in those kinds of places. It's just, they're gonna be marked up in value quite a bit because they are being sold secondhand. So what we're talking about is buying them at retail price. In other words, the lowest amount that you can pay for a chase. So with all that being said, tip number 1. And that is staying up to date on Funko releases. See, it's absolutely vital that you are aware of what pops are coming out and which of them have chase variants. And if you're aware of that, then you know exactly what to be looking for in stores. And to stay up to date, I recommend a couple of things. First, download the Funko app if you haven't already. See, there's a section on the homepage that is coming soon. If you watch that closely, it's a pretty good indicator. And I believe they update that about once a week on Wednesdays. Now, short disclaimer, the app isn't perfect and it's not always the most reliable. So while it is helpful, I wouldn't make it your primary source. Rather, I recommend finding Funko Pop Instagrammers. There are a number out there that post about, Funko news or releases, anything like that. And there are even people out there that won't just post about what pops have been announced, but they'll even post about when pops start hitting stores. I mean, my YouTube channel kind of does that in a way. We go on a lot of hunts and show you what pops are out there. So go ahead and subscribe if you want to be in the know. Now this tip helps you get prepped for chases long before they even hit the shelves. So I highly recommend starting to get up to date if you're not already. Now on that same theme, let's move on to tip number 2. And that is to follow your local stores on Instagram. And yes, this is another Instagram tip. Guys, I'm telling you, Instagram is so helpful when you're collecting. Anyway, if you didn't know already, a lot of retail stores actually have their own Instagram accounts. And I'm not talking about like the company's official Instagram, like the big one for everybody that's a part of the organization. No, rather, I mean your actual local FYE or your local box lunch probably have their own Instagram accounts. And in the past, whenever I've tried to quiz a retail store worker about when they get pops, they almost always direct me to their Instagram account because they regularly post about the chases they get in the night before they even hit the shelves. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons that you're not finding chases yet. If other people are following those Instagram accounts, they know exactly where to go to get chases. So if you start following those accounts, there's a much higher chance that you're going to be the first person to get to that chase instead of them. And if you're wondering how to find the Instagram account actually on Instagram, I would recommend asking the workers at the store. Or if you don't want to go into the store, it's pretty common for them to just name the Instagram account the name of the store plus the mall that they're in or something like that. So that's a pretty safe bet. Now on to tip number 3. This is a super simple tip, but it's one that's overlooked so often, and that is just look behind the counter. Retail stores, rightly so, often get so tired of collectors coming in, rummaging through all of their pops and leaving the pop section a total mess. I can't blame them. I'd get annoyed too. So as a way to work around that, these retail stores will actually take the chases they get in and put them directly behind the counter for anybody to see. That way, us collectors don't have to go in and make a mess. And just as a super quick tip, just be respectful to these retail stores. These people work hard, so if we can keep it clean for them, why not? So anyway, if you were to walk straight into the store, go right to the back to where the pops are, look around, and then walk straight out of the store, you'd totally miss the chase that is right behind the counter. I mean, I recently walked into my FYE, looked around in the pop section, and noticed they had 5 pops that have a chase. And I decided to look behind the counter, and I actually ended up finding this Chase Goku just right back there. So it's totally worth your time, very simple to do, but also very easy to forget. So anytime you go into a store, don't forget to look behind the counter. Now on to tip number 4. And that is, tell your friends and your family about your pop collection and ask them to keep an eye out for you. Now this is kind of a weird one, but I promise you it can be so helpful. I mean, I regularly get texts from my friends and family members that are just pictures of a pop section in a retail store that says, hey, do you see anything that you think is cool? Remember, the more eyes you have looking for a chase, the higher chance you have of actually finding one. So it's totally worth it. Now on to the last tip, and that is tip number 5. Now you probably saw this coming, but tip number 5 is to remain patient and be as consistent as you possibly can be. Remember, you're not the only person out there looking for chases. I mean, any serious collector is doing it. So it's more than likely going to take you some time before you find it. But I promise you, if you apply these tips consistently over a period of time, you'll eventually see success and you will find a chase. It's worked for me, and I promise you it'll work for you too. Just keep at it. Now, the Michael Jordan equivalent of lacrosse, whose name is Paul Rabel, once said that he believed there was almost no better feeling in lacrosse than scoring a goal. Now, I'm saying there's almost no better feeling in collecting Funko Pops than finding a chase. The moment you do, it is so fun. So keep at it. I promise you, you'll get there. So those are all my tips. Please comment down below. Let me know what things help you find chases. And if you haven't already, join the madness by subscribing to the channel today. My name is Benjamin, you're watching Retro Marmot Pops, and I will catch you on the next one. See you later.